I love a good conspiracy theory. Who doesn't? But you may be surprised to know that when these theories are flat out proven to be fake, people are so invested that they simply refuse to believe it. In this video, we're going to jump down the rabbit hole of the world's first internet conspiracy theory and what happens when the actual creator of the hoax comes forward and admits that it's just that, a big fat hoax. Hi folks, I'm Johnny and welcome to The Oddest. Buckle up for a mental ride into the mystery of Ong's hat. Let's start off with a wee question. What does the Slender Man and spiritualism have in common? They were both created as a hoax, and after the original creators came forward and admitted it was just a joke, thousands and in some cases millions of people simply refused to believe them. It was now out of their control and out of their hands. Venture forth into the depths of the New Jersey Pine Barrens, where a trail winds and twists, leading you to an abandoned hamlet. Well, more of a single hut than anything else. This is Ong's Hat, where each year the curious and the adventurous flock, lured by tales of its mysterious presence and the search for a gateway to another realm. Amidst the 1.1 million acres of wild forest, Ong's Hat stands as nothing but a desolate relic of its former glory. Yet in the 1860s it was a bustling village, famous for its illicit alcohol and brutal boxing matches. The place to be, if you didn't mind getting steaming drunk and then punched in the throat. The story behind the name of Ong's Hat is just as shrouded in mystery as the hamlet's dark and eerie past. Local legends say that it came from a settler named Jacob Ong, who was known for his flamboyant style and his most prized possession, an expensive silk hat. One fateful night, a jealous lover at a local dance took issue with Jacob's flirtatiousness, snatching his hat and tossing it onto the floor, jumping on it like a toddler jumping into a puddle. The sight of his beloved hat being destroyed sent Jacob into a rage, and he threw a temper tantrum, as well as throwing his hat up into a nearby tree in frustration, where it remained perched for many years and became something of a landmark. Can you see where this is going? No, not that, but similar, hence the name Ong's Hat. However, by the late 1980s, over 100 years had passed and Ong's Hat had seen better days. The descendants of the original settlers had long since moved on to greener pastures, leaving only a single dilapidated shed. But this decrepit place held a dark secret. Rumours began to spread after a mysterious photocopied pamphlet appeared all across New Jersey. The pamphlet's eye-catching title, Ong's Hat, Gateway to the Dimensions. This immediately grabbed the attention of the locals. It was said to have been published by the Institute of Chaos Studies and the Moorish Science Ashram and started with a sentence that would send shivers down the spine of any conspiracy theorist. You would not be reading this article if you had not already penetrated halfway to the Institute of Chaos Studies. You have been searching for us without knowing it. I mean, let's face it, that just sounds like something straight out of the Matrix movie, right? According to the pamphlets, the Pine Barrens were the location of the Moorish Science Ashram, a commune established in 1978 by a guy called Wally Fard. Fard would spend his days seeking that which many have been seeking for centuries, true spiritual enlightenment. Well, that and he was an international carpet salesman. Man's gotta eat, right? He had been exploring various spiritual practices during his travels throughout the East, including Indian tantric practices and Islamic Sufism. He also sold Turkish rugs along the way and was successful enough as a salesman to purchase 200 acres of land in the Pine Barrens upon his return to America. There, he founded the Moorish Science Ashram, where he and his followers spent their days practicing all sorts of strange pseudo-scientific activities. It was believed that the spiritual rhythms in the area were ideal for their pursuits. Life hack for you guys. When buying land or property, always be mindful of the spiritual rhythms. Meanwhile, the residents of the Moorish Science Ashram were attempting to uncover the secrets of the universe by chanting whilst standing on one foot. Coincidentally, twin scientists Frank and Althea Dobbs arrived in the nearby town of Ong's Hat. Although they considered themselves real scientists, they had been expelled from Princeton University for experimenting in chaos studies, which was deemed seditious nonsense by their peers and the university, so they were booted out. So, these rogue scientists decided to indulge in their wildest curiosities and built a secret lab at Ong's Hat. Before they knew it, Fard and the Dobbs twins had merged their crazy research programs, the Moorish Science Ashram and the Institute of Chaos Studies, into a maelstrom of madness. They blended quantum mechanics with classical physics, meditation and alchemy into a cauldron of nuttiness. After a few months and an influx of like-minded bunker nuts, they had gathered enough resources to create a device known only as the egg. This machine was roughly the size of a compact car and was a modified sensory deprivation chamber, complete with computer terminals, electrodes and a helmet that would stimulate brain cells through sound. The goal was to shrink the user to the atomic level, delve into the quantum realm and uncover the elusive collapse of the wave function in quantum physics. However, when they powered up the egg for the first time, the unexpected happened. Instead of shrinking, it vanished into thin air. The entire Institute of Chaos Studies was left stunned for 7 minutes, but then, as if by magic, the egg suddenly reappeared with its passenger in tow. The man inside explained that he had travelled to an alternate dimension, a forest identical to that of the Pine Barrens, with one striking yet jarring difference. Human life had never developed there. Sounds like the next Jumanji movie to me. Listen, now's not the time for jokes. These good science folk have just made a discovery that would change mankind forever. Nothing can stop them now. But, would you believe it, there was a nuclear mishap at a nearby military base that threatened the residents with radiation, and to add more insult to injury, those pesky government agents launched a violent raid on the compound, determined to destroy the egg. Nothing's sacred anymore. It seems that even for the Institute of Chaos Studies, their actions had become too chaotic, and even they couldn't have foreseen these events. They weren't doing anything wrong after all, apart from messing around with the fabric of space-time. No biggie. With the constant threat of merciless interruptions lurking, the inhabitants used their newly discovered interdimensional tech and took a daring leap and fled to an unknown world, leaving behind their familiar surroundings. Armed with the mysterious egg device, they journeyed through a portal to a parallel dimension and brought everything they needed with them. Their homes, their laboratories, and even their possessions. They left behind only a small structure to keep their gateway hidden from prying eyes. To this day, they continue to build peculiar egg-shaped machines and travel between dimensions. But all that remains of their story is a puzzling pamphlet. The pamphlet also reveals that these adventurous universe hoppers still venture back to our world, if only to collect essential supplies such as books, computers, and coffee. Yep, they travel between universes just to fuel their caffeine fix. How extreme can one's addiction get? Unfortunately, the answer still remains unknown. So what's the real story behind Ong's Hat? The rest of the tale is nothing but a fake, a concocted campfire story. I know it sounds believable, but hold on, I'm not just spinning tales for the fun of it, or maybe just a little. The legendary story of Ong's Hat is one of a kind, a mythical tale with a captivating backstory of its own. You see, the story of Ong's Hat was actually the world's first viral hoax. It was published in 1988 in a magazine called Edge Detector, and was credited to writer Peter Wilson, a friend of the mastermind behind it all, a guy called Joseph Matheny. Matheny, a writer from Chicago, was fascinated by alternate reality games, and Ong's Hat was his masterpiece, the first ARG that spread through the early internet and enthralled millions of people. In case you're not familiar with alternate reality games, an alternate reality game, ARG, is a type of interactive storytelling that unfolds across multiple platforms and media. Players become part of the story and can influence its direction by making choices and taking actions. The story takes place in real time, creating a highly immersive and dynamic experience. Think of it like a real choose-your-own-adventure book. That's what Matheny and friends did in 1989, leaving photocopies of the Ong's Hat pamphlet in coffee shops, magazine racks, hiking trails and any other place where the curious minds seeking excitement beyond their mundane lives might stumble upon it. Despite the clear evidence, many followers were so deeply invested in the Ong's Hat mythology that they refused to accept the truth. In 1999, Matheny published his book Ong's Hat: The Beginning and spoke about it on popular paranormal radio show Coast to Coast AM, igniting a firestorm of curiosity and disbelief. As the myth gained traction, Matheny's cryptic clues were overlooked and the hoax was taken to dangerous extremes. Conspiracy theorists, UFO enthusiasts and even the mentally unstable began hounding Matheny for answers, forcing him to confront the true consequences of his fabricated tale. As the conspiracy surrounding Ong's Hat grew, Matheny found himself under attack from all sides. Threatening emails, phone calls, letters, and even in-person confrontations became a daily occurrence. By the year 2000, conspiracy theorists were camping out on his lawn, and he was forced to defend himself with his firearm. One delusional fanatic even went so far as to contact Matheny's employers, branding him a dangerous liability. In 2001, Matheny finally came clean and posted an open letter online, declaring that he wanted nothing more to do with the hoax and was glad to be free of it. The letter was signed The Real Joe Matheny, but this did little to appease the die-hard conspiracy theorists. Rumours began to spread that the government had silenced Matheny, that he had been threatened into submission. The hoax had become a conspiracy theory about a conspiracy theory, and Matheny's life was forever changed by the monstrous creation that he unleashed. Matheny's confession may have put an end to the harassment from strangers, but it couldn't extinguish his desire to play with the conspiracy theorists' paranoia. He continued to keep them guessing with his cryptic answers and vague responses. In 2001, Matheny even became a consultant for a new internet hoax, John Titor, a time traveller from the year 2036, which predicted catastrophic events like a nuclear war. The hoax was created by Florida entertainment lawyer Larry Haber, but its legacy lived on. The story of Ong's Hat may not be real, but it's considered by some to be the first ARG in history, a viral phenomenon that captivated the minds of many. Despite the truth, there are still those who are desperate to believe in this mythical egg and the presence of an interdimensional vortex at the ominous cabin at Ong's Hat. Matheny's hoax may have ended, but its impact will forever be felt in the world of conspiracies and alternate realities. Ah, the internet, a place where anything and everything is possible, a breeding ground for unbridled hopes and dreams. And then there are the desperate souls who venture into the New Jersey Pine Barrens in search of Ong's Hat, hoping to find a gateway to another world and take a ride in the mythical egg. But we must dash their hopes and bring them back to reality, even if their reality is a little mentally challenged. In this day and age, where the internet is dominated by ARGs, VR headsets and video games that allow you to scream profanity at players from all over the world, the line between fiction and reality is blurrier than ever. But one thing remains clear: Ong's Hat, the egg and the gateway to another world are simply a figment of someone's imagination. Or is that what they want you to believe? Right, well, that's the story of Ong's Hat. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, away you go and get a wee cup of tea. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I wish you all the best. Stay safe and do me a huge favour. Keep smiling. Despite the truth, there are still those who are desperate to believe in this mythical egg and the presence of an interdimensional vortex at this Despite the truth, There are still those who are desperate to believe in this mythical egg and the presence of an interdimensional vortex at the Ominous, Johnny. Jesus.